A bad salesperson would just in one ear, out the other, and then they'll just list all the features and benefits and say, this is why our product is so amazing. Do you want to buy it? A good salesperson will take the one feature or benefit that aligns with the problem that the customer was talking about. And that's all they need to hear. They don't care about anything else that it does. It's cool that it does all the other stuff, but you have to listen to the customer and figure out what is their pain point, what are they struggling with, and how does your product help provide the solution for that.
This is Conversations with Women in Sales, an award-winning podcast launched by Barbara Giamacco and now hosted by Lori Richardson. Listen to interviews with amazing women about their journeys in their sales careers, often discussing sales leadership tips, ideas, and strategies. We aim to inspire women to consider or continue a sales career, and for some women to grow into sales leadership. Men, we need your support and appreciate your allyship. Now here's our host, Lori Richardson.
This episode is sponsored by RapidScale. At RapidScale, exceptional technology is powered by exceptional people. As a growing leader in secure, reliable, managed cloud solutions, we help businesses simplify IT and unleash innovation. With a broad portfolio spanning AWS, Azure, and Google to a full set of private cloud and cybersecurity solutions, RapidScale helps companies turn technology into their biggest competitive advantage. And we're hiring cloud sales professionals to join our team. As part of the Cox family of companies, we offer best-in-class benefits, a commitment to work-life balance, an award-winning workplace experience, and top-notch rewards and recognition for our sales teams. Connect to work that improves lives, including yours. To learn more, visit rapidscalegojobs.com today.
I'm here today with Ayana Gardner, and Ayana is with Zoom. She's a ZCX Channel Leader. I'm not sure what that is, so I'm going to ask her in a minute. But Ayana, it's so great to see you again. We met at CIS at the conference
Hi,
last.
Lori. Yeah, I'm so happy to be here. I'm glad that we finally got to do this. So thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, you've had a great career in sales. And first of all, what does a ZCX Channel Leader do?
That is a great question. So ZCX stands for Zoom Customer Experience. And I just work with the channel partners, so the resellers of Zoom products. And I specifically make sure that they're selling Zoom Contact Center. So I do that through enablement. We do a lot of events with the partners to make sure they have everything they need in order to sell our products,
Yeah.
and then let them know like what the incentives and commissions look like. And then also we do a lot of helping to create lead generation. So we do that through prospecting or blitz calls, things like that. So that's pretty much my role.
Is it mostly virtual or do you travel because of events or are they virtual events? I guess with Zoom, they're probably virtual, right?
Yeah, we do quite a bit virtual. Obviously, Zoom, we have that technology and we want to use our own dog food.
Yeah.
But I do travel because we do find that in person, there's something special that happens when you just build that relationship. So meeting up with partners, hosting events, we do a lot of like lunch and learns or happy hours, things of that nature. So I probably do maybe 3 or 4 a quarter over 3 months. So it's not every day, but maybe every other week, once a month, depends on the time of the year. Summer wasn't that busy because a lot of the partners were traveling. So it's usually the beginning of the year and the end of the year where there's a lot of travel.
Oh, that's very interesting. It sounds like a very interesting role. So I like that. And it's good for people to know that are looking into a sales job or in a sales role, looking to change that there are so many different types of roles available. You
So many
mentioned
types. Yes.
enablement. You're doing something where it's involving enablement, it's involving the channel, it's involving trade shows. That's pretty cool, I think.
Yeah, no, it's a lot of fun. I love it. It's never the same day in a row, which for someone like me, I like that variety. And I cover the Western territory. So that is
Uh,
about 300 partners, I think a little under 300. So there are obviously the top partners that I work with regularly, but typically it's a new partner that's in the shuffle every week that I am either introducing myself or rehashing that relationship and saying, "Hey, we haven't talked in a couple of months. What are you guys doing? When can we set up a meeting with your sales team to talk about some of the new stuff that we have going on?" And the biggest thing with Zoom is that we have features that are coming out probably every month, 30 to
Sure.
50 features.
Wow.
So constantly updating the partners on, hey, we can do this now. Hey, did you see this AI feature that we came out with? And this just all of a sudden will help them think of a customer. Oh, you guys do that? I just talked to a customer that's looking for that. Perfect. Let's broker a conversation to see if there's something there. So that's a big part of my job as well, just keeping them updated. And I myself have to stay updated, which is a job on its own.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I feel like I've always been a lifelong learner in sales. Do you think of yourself that way too? Because there's always new
Oh,
things.
absolutely. I think I know we're going to get to like advice and everything, but the best salespeople are lifelong learners. You have to always, especially if you're in the technology space, there's always something new, innovative. You want to stay on top of that so that you seem competent when you're talking to your partners or your customers, but then also you can just stay on top of the trend because things are always changing. So always learning. Yes.
Oh, that's great. Let's go back a little bit because when you were in school, I'm curious, what did you think you would be when you grew up? Did you think you'd be in tech sales?
No,
It's not something
I
we
think,
aspire to when we're young, like
yeah,
in tech
I
sales when we
think,
grow up.
yeah, for the longest time, I wanted to be a pediatrician. I think I just loved kids and I was super smart. So I was like, I can be a doctor. It can't be that hard. Yeah, that was what I wanted to do for the longest time. But then when I found out how long you have to go to school,
Yeah.
like after college was like another 8 years. And I was just like, I just want to jump into the workforce. So I fell into sales on accident. But yeah, I did want to be a pediatrician, which is complete opposite of what I do.
Although it's a helping profession and you're helping, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Did you have anyone in your family who was in sales that could
Yes,
say, "Oh, yeah,
I
sales is
did.
good"?
That is a great question. My dad, he was in sales my entire life. He started off selling, I think, life insurance. And that was when we were back in New York. And then I told you we moved to Vegas when I was 5 years old. The job that brought him to Vegas, he was actually a sales manager of a Yellow Pages company.
Ah,
So that kind of dates me and him a little bit.
I remember the yellow pages.
Yeah, you remember the Yellow
I
Pages.
do.
And so he was the guy that was running the sales team that would basically get people to buy ads in the Yellow Pages. So they'd
Yeah.
go door knocking on businesses and say, hey, nail shop, you should put an ad in the Yellow Pages. Hey, teriyaki bowl food place, you should put an ad in the Yellow Pages. These are our prices. This is the ROI that our other customers are getting from our ads and things like that. And that's really what he did. And I would go to the office with him all the time, help him file papers, hear him in some of his meetings. And then I started to learn as I got older about commission. So I knew that he had a really good commission month because we would get all the groceries and we probably have a trip plan. And my mom would get some new furniture. And I'm like, oh, okay, daddy had a good commission month. And he had a lot of them. So it was definitely, it piqued my interest, but I still wasn't looking to be in sales.
Yeah.
But once I turned away from being a pediatrician, it was just like, okay, maybe I'll just do this in the meantime until I figure out what I want to do. And then I got sucked in and loved it.
Yeah, was it surprising to you about how many people have built such big careers in tech? To me, it's incredible, really.
Yeah, no, definitely. I think the more I got exposed to it, the more I saw that it was a career that you can build into. But then also just seeing all the different types, because it's not just tech sales, there's pharmaceutical sales, there's, yeah, insurance people, they make residuals. So they make really good money from a deal that they sold 10 years ago. They're still getting a check from that. But just
Yeah.
learning about all the different sales roles no matter what the product is, you need a sales team in order to push it out and to go to market and to make the revenue. So it just
Yeah.
seemed like a career where there was a lot of job security.
Yeah. And so being a woman and being a woman of color, how have you dealt with the male majority, the white male majority, I guess I would say?
Yeah, because it's definitely there.
It's definitely there. Yeah. It's not going away anytime soon.
Yeah, I think for me, and I'm a little bit unique, I'm not saying everybody does this or every woman of color does this, but I grew up in the suburbs where I was already the only one in most of my classes or any sort of extracurricular activities that I did. So I just thought that was the norm. I didn't really think it was anything wrong with it or I didn't feel uncomfortable. So one of the people that I love is Alex Hermosi, and he always talks about advantages and disadvantages. And it's like glass half full, glass half empty. So I could walk into a room and say, oh, I'm the only woman of color. I'm the only woman, get really self conscious about that. Or I could walk into a room and say, I'm the only woman of color. I'm the only woman. I'm probably going to be the most memorable of all these conversations that are happening in this room.
Yeah.
So, how can I make myself stand out even more by being competent, by being friendly, by providing some sort of value for this person? So now when I follow up with them, they're like, oh, yeah, no, I definitely remember you. Let's set up that meeting. Let's register that deal, et cetera, et cetera. That's just how I think about it. I don't go into it like, woe is me, because that doesn't help anybody, me
Right.
or the person that I'm trying to sell to.
Yeah, there's no room for that in sales, right? It's all about
Exactly.
being forward thinking and being uplifted. And even I think of it like athletes. Like if you had a bad game last night, you can't come into today with that attitude, right? It's
Exactly.
mindset is so important. And it's just incredible to just be that. I feel I relate to you in the sense that as I'm getting older, 55 plus, we'll say people will hold age against people, particularly in
Hmm.
tech. I've been not thought of in a lot of different situations. And I see it as an advantage because I have wisdom. I have insight. I know about the yellow pages. There are people that don't know what that means. We
Exactly.
years of selling previously. I've spent hundreds and thousands of sales calls, and that has value. And so when
Absolutely.
so a woman will reach out to me and say, "Oh, I'm over 50 and I can't get an interview." And I'm just like, that is just up here.
Right.
It's not true. And if you have value and if you don't, if you do have value, put it on your LinkedIn. Let's see what you did. It has to show something. It can't just be the role, but what did you cause to happen? What were some of the results? You got to share that stuff because that's what sales is all about, right?
Yeah, no, I agree. That's the only way. I don't know where I got that from. Maybe my parents taught that to me, but yeah, it's just the only way to go about life, just in anything. Sales, if you're on vacation and I don't know, the flight gets canceled or something, it's like, okay, well, what can we do in this other test? You have
Yeah.
to think about it that way because otherwise you'll be miserable. There's always something to focus on that's negative.
Yeah, I think it's a gift to have that mindset because I don't think I got it from my parents. Although my dad was very optimistic, but he was also a don't make waves, just be
Yeah.
the guy for all of us, not just my sisters, but my brothers too. So
Yeah, and sometimes it's a little bit annoying to my husband. I can be overly optimistic, and he's just, "Let's bring it down to reality here." And I'm like, "Okay." So it has
yeah,
its pros and cons in its own way.
that's right. Being overly optimistic in sales is we learn that lesson too over time, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Great. You've been in several different organizations. I'm wondering what kinds of learnings do you have for maybe a woman who's considering telecom sales or tech sales of some type? What advice would you have?
Yeah, I have a couple. I would say to start off, we touched on learning. That is a huge part. And you can't rely on the company to provide all of the learning for you. So they're going to give you a foundational training and kind of let you know these are the products, these are the selling points, this is how we position ourselves against competition. Cool. But you have to go deeper. You have to find out what are the bad things that our customers saying about the product? What are the good things that they're saying? Get into the weeds with your sales engineer and learn about some of the nitty gritty of the technical, even if you don't talk to it or speak to it, just understanding like how exactly it all clicks and works together. So that is a huge advantage because competency is huge in sales. If you don't come across that you know what you're talking about or you don't provide that value, then it's really hard for customers, or in my case, resale partners, to really trust you because they're just like, she doesn't even sell the product. She doesn't even know how to use it.
Right.
So I can only take what she's saying with a grain of salt. And that's men or women. So for sure, learning during the pandemic, I actually took a cloud infrastructure course that Rapid Scale was offering,
Wow.
and it was completely free internally, but no one on my team, this was before I joined the Rapid Scale team, no one
Yeah.
on my team took it because it wasn't required. We were only required to know the phone, internet, cable packages for businesses that we were selling. And it was partly because I had just so much time during the pandemic. I was a little bit bored
Yeah.
and I just went into it and found it fascinating because it was something that seemed complex. But then once you got under one layer, it was like, oh, that's all it is. It's just a data center with memory that's sending the information to this computer over here. Like it just started to click to me.
Yeah.
Then once the pandemic kind of waned, maybe around the end of 2020 or beginning of 2021, they opened up a cloud infrastructure sales position. I applied, got the interview, and just speaking with the hiring manager, I said, I did take these courses. And she was like, you already took them? That is literally the training for this job. And I was like, oh, I already ready. She was like, she pretty much offered me the job on the spot.
Wow.
So learning is super important because it can put you ahead of the competition, but then it also is just, like I said, makes you really competent when you're talking to your customers or resale partners. Another big thing is listening. You have to be a good listener because your customer is going to tell you exactly what they, how to sell to them essentially. So if they come to you and say, hey, Lori, I have this issue and these are some of the business outcomes that I'm trying to accomplish. A bad salesperson would just in one ear, out the other, and then they'll just list all the features and benefits and say, this is why our product is so amazing. Do you want to buy it? A good salesperson will take the one feature or benefit that aligns with the problem that the customer was talking about. And that's all they need to hear. They don't care about anything else that it does. It's cool that it does all the other stuff, but you have to listen to the customer and figure out what is their pain point, what are they struggling with, and how does your product help provide the solution for that. So those are my two biggest things for people looking to get into sales or people who are in sales and just want to continue to be successful.
Yeah. And when you talked about competence, doesn't that tie in with your confidence? Because people say,
Absolutely.
do you
Absolutely.
think women are less confident than men? I don't necessarily believe that, but I think when we have when we're competent to do something, we don't want to do it halfway, right? We want to do it
Yeah,
right. And so it's important that we're competent and then we feel more confident.
I agree. I quote Alex Ramosi a lot. I'm a big fan of his. But another one of his quotes is confidence is evidence based. So the more evidence that you have, you are more confident. So if you are taking the courses and learning about the product, then you're automatically going to be more confident because your brain is saying, hey, you did the work, you know this about the topic. So you now can go into that conversation a lot more confident.
Yeah, that's really important. And then accept the kudos when people tell you did a good job. Don't say, oh, it was nothing. Right.
Yeah.
It was something.
I'm still working on that. That's easier said than done. But yes,
So
accept it
do you
when
follow
people give you
Cynthia
your
Barnes?
flowers.
Cynthia
Cynthia
Barnes
Barnes.
is really good about saying when if someone compliments you, you say thank you. It's true.
Yeah. That's good. I like that. I should
Yeah.
try that.
Yeah, check her out. She's got some really great messaging around how as women we can accept compliments and that it's not bragging if it's true. It's okay to say, I had a great year this year. I hit my numbers or I exceeded my numbers, and that's a good thing.
Yeah, for sure. I love that. I'll
That's
definitely
great.
try that going into 2025. Thank you.
Yeah, yeah. So other than Alex, whose stuff what do you read or what do you listen? Do you listen to podcasts or?
Yeah, I listen to a bunch of podcasts. A little ashamed to admit, but I listen to a lot of true crime podcasts.
That's
But
great.
as far as educational or informative, I listen to one called Partnerships Unraveled, and it's specifically about channel sales. So if anyone's interested in getting into channel sales, it's really good. I recommend if you are have no experience with channel sales that you start from episode 1 because they literally spell out how to build a channel program, how to build relationships with partners, all sorts of things. They run the gamut of all different topics. And I think now they're at a stage where they're just interviewing experienced channel people and getting gems from them. So that is a really good one. What else I listen to? I listen to The Daily. They just talk about, I think you've heard about that one.
Yeah,
I think it's by the New York Times.
yeah,
And then just pick one or two topics every day and just talk about them and give you a little bit more than just the headline. They'll give you maybe some interviews or some insight. And for me, that's really good because I don't watch a lot of news. I feel that it can be negative. So
yeah,
it's a good way to stay on top of things without just grabbing the headlines. Because I think right now that's what a lot of people do. They just grab the
yeah,
headlines and they'll just run off with it. And
yeah.
you don't know about any of the other information. So
Yeah, you gotta
those
drill
are two that
down.
I recommend.
That's good. Yeah, I'm like old school television, grew up with television. I just got tired of the commercials.
Yeah.
Repetitive, ongoing, same thing over and over. It's my brain doesn't need that anymore.
Yeah, and then they do this weird thing where they turn the volume up on the commercial.
Yeah,
I don't know if you have that issue, but
used to be.
yeah, it's so
It
overstimulating. I'm just like,
yeah,
turn that off.
exactly. I hear you. That's great. I'm excited. How are you thinking about going into a new year? 20 This will be 2025 when this launches.
Okay.
And Rapid Scale actually is our first sponsor, so really your
Yay.
former
That's an awesome
employer.
sponsor.
Yeah, yeah.
Going into 2025, honestly, I don't have much as far as goals or expectations yet. I think I'm
But you will.
still
Will you
Yeah,
set
no, I
goals?
definitely will. I definitely will. I
Okay.
think I'm still absorbing 2024 because my husband and we traveled quite a bit. I had a whirlwind Zoom year at Zoom.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think I'm still just like absorbing all of that. So this
But
little vacation I think will be nice to take in all of 2024, the wins, the losses, and then make the roadmap for 2025. So
yeah.
nothing to report as of yet, but by the time this airs, I'm sure I'll have that
Oh,
all,
that's good.
you
We'll have
know.
to follow up.
Yeah.
I buy a big wall calendar and I put in my vacation time. And so since I have a
Smart.
new company, so I have to do that to protect my time. And
Yes.
I put that in and then I put trips and things that are happening. And I got my planner, so I'm gonna dive into that this week too. So I'll be
Yeah, that's what this week is for. I feel it's great for the holidays and spending time. But after 25th, 26th, it's okay. This last week is to really
right.
just deep clean your house,
Yeah,
do some journaling, maybe
I
go to
love
the
that.
spa
That's
and
great.
just like really reset before the new year. Because if you don't take that time, before you know it, it'll be February, March, and you're just like, ah,
I love that
take
you're a
this
planner
week.
too.
Yes.
That's so great. I really appreciate your time. Ayana, it's great to hear about what you've done so far, and I look forward to hearing what you're going to accomplish in the future. Ayana is a channel leader at Zoom, and thank you so much for being on the show today.
Yeah. Thank you so much for having me. And thank you for just everything that you do. I think I sent you a message. You're just like the definition of an ally. So we're just so happy to have you, our community, and just thank you for everything that you do. And you're a great interviewer as well.
Oh, thank you so much. All right, here's to a big 2025, Ayana.
You too. Thank you so
Thank
much.
you.
I'm your announcer, Larry Long Jr., and we sincerely thank you for listening to this episode of Conversations with Women in Sales, encouraging you to share an episode with all of your friends and your favorite male allies. Let's work together to change the face of sales. Until next time, you can find all of our episodes at womensalespros.com/podcast.